How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm really well.
Nice.
I've had the best day.
Dude, tell
The
me
best.
about it.
So good. I started the morning very late, but I did this 30, 45 minute, I don't even know how long it was, but just sitting in silence and sipping tea. And
Love
I'm
it.
gonna do that from now on because I genuinely had the best day ever.
Dude,
Yeah,
oh
so
my
much
gosh.
to share.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I just started this book. Sorry, Mike. I told you, I tell you, I'm always doing something I feel like at 6 o'clock my time when this Zoom starts. But um I'm reading this book. I just started it today. It's called, what is it called? Oh, it's called what is it called? It's something like it's about rest,
Hmm.
and prioritizing rest. And I'm really excited to read it because the way the author even wrote the book, it seems so relatable and personable. Like
Hmm.
sometimes you read books and you're like, what the heck are they saying? It's not
Right.
like that.
Yeah,
So
there's some books that like if I don't resonate with like the first 5 pages, I'm not going to keep reading it. Like I genuinely
exactly.
have so many books I do not complete because I'm like it's not I don't know what they're talking about and I don't want to know more about what they're talking about.
Yeah,
Um
no,
It's an
yeah, that's
interesting
exactly.
like
take. That's kind of cool though. That's interesting. I like that.
I think though with a lot of I mean depending if it's like a novel, right? Or like
Yeah.
fiction, it's a different story, right? But if
Mhm.
it's like an informative thing, I kind of started that practice in college because they'll give you books that you have to just like look for pieces of information and
Yeah.
you like don't have the time to read the whole thing. And there were books where I was like, literally, I'm just gonna read what I need to finish the class.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think Michael does like background noise. But I would read the book where I needed to finish the class and then there were other books that they would give us to read, and I would only have time to read what they told me to, but I wanted to have the time to read the whole thing. So that like ability to taste and figure out what matters, what doesn't, where my interest lies, where it doesn't, was really effective in that time because you're on a time crunch all the time. You're studying, you're implementing your knowledge, you're writing papers, that whole deal. And effective time use for knowledge consumption became really important to me. And I was really bothered that I couldn't have the time that I wanted to learn everything I wanted in a certain given
Yes.
book. So,
Oh my gosh, I love that. And it's like learning is supposed to be fun. And so whenever we make it not fun, then it's not in its original
yeah,
purpose or design. So,
exactly. Exactly.
but
Yeah, it's exactly what today's topic is about, taking things out of their original design and bringing them back into their original design.
so
Um,
exciting.
through the conversation of the human body and our organ systems and the frequency of healing essences of essential oils. But
Yes.
yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you for the inspiration on the chat. That was so perfect.
Oh, of course. I'm like, gotta turn my color filter on because I've had it off and I'm like, okay, might be nice to actually see y'all's faces. But yeah, I've been like taking a deep dive. I feel like into all of this, like I finally feel like I have the capacity to do so, and it's been so refreshing. I'm reading
Yeah.
that this book that I had sent in the chat, and it's so cool because it's bringing in biochemistry, which is what I just graduated with, and I'm like,
Oh
oh
wow.
my gosh, this like makes sense. And it's talking about how like we were made to have our bodies in, like our bodies are meant to be in an alkaline state, and the different biological processes like on a cellular level it produces an acidic environment. And so whenever we are like consuming a lot of acidic foods, we're like contributing to that, we're like making a compound effect of the acid that's like being built up. And although like our body does regulate itself for its pH, like just like a lot of the detoxes, it's kind of bullcrap because it's like, what are you like? You don't need a liver detox. Your liver will detox itself. There's
Yes.
things that you can do to support that process, but your body knows what it's doing because God made it to function adequately and to have, be able to take care of itself. But it's cool because it's saying that a lot of diseases are produced because of an acidic state. And so
Mhm.
it's like, I don't know, it just makes me think like there just has to be um, a way to simplify these bigger, like complex topics. And like, I don't believe that like holistic is the only way. Like, but I do think that like using preventative medicine is something that's very important and within God's design. But I do also think that there's some medications, like
Yeah.
I, for example, like Tylenol. If a kiddo has a 104 fever, I'm giving them some Tylenol or I'm giving them some like different allopathic medicines because it's like you just don't want to mess. Like you want to obviously don't that shouldn't be your first response, but if like a kid is getting really sick, then like you want to keep you want to use it when it's appropriate. But I don't know. This is a long
I
tangent, but
think I think there's a pyramid of wellness to follow. You would
Right.
not
yeah,
use invasive or chemical-based compounds or like pharmaceutically created compounds first, especially on a clean system because they're very pure in general. They're not crapped up like we are at 20 years old to 60 years old.
yeah,
Um, your body can handle Tylenol.
hmm
Conceptually, we were not designed with a deficiency of Tylenol. So
right,
that wouldn't essentially correct the fever. It would only mute the symptoms. That's
exactly,
my
Right.
perspective. And there's a pyramid to that structure, the medical structure, where this is my model. The founding layer is your foundational medicine of balanced circadian rhythm, grounding, hydration, minerals,
yes,
essential oils, whole food diet. And then you
right,
go massage therapist, chiropractor, frequency medicine, detox programs, whatever you're dieting. I don't know what you're gonna do. Then it goes like medical, pharmaceutical intervention, and that pillar or that pyramid is getting smaller. So the amount of patients or the amount of opportunities you have to get up to that higher point of like pharmaceutical intervention or the top being like surgical intervention if you have like a broken leg or a burst appendix, that's where I could understand things like that. But
yeah,
this
Right.
is more
Acute. It's those acute injuries.
exactly
hmm
acute injuries, but there are things like basic ailments, which we'll
yes,
discuss today, where your frequency is just out of balance. And when you
hmm
give your body tools to support, you are created to detox on your own, like you just said about the
yeah,
liver. You don't need to do a detox when the liver is designed to detox in a certain hour of the night every single.
yeah,
We just
so
give
good,
it tools. We can give it tools like essential oils, applying it topically, consuming internally. Herbs, herbs help me
yeah,
so much, and they help clear the pathways. There's things like binders that are very important to help clear the lymphatic system in certain organs. That without them, the essential oils can push out toxins and viruses and bacteria out of your cells and organs. But if they don't have a flusher system, they're just going to keep hanging out in the body. So having things that flush those toxins out is just as important as having the essential oils or herbs to get them out of those cells in the first place.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so good. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And this book is also it's or no, not this book. Um there's like a muscle testing practitioner who he like talks about frequencies too. And
Mhm.
like something that I was reading up on some of his material, it was saying that a lot of the biochemical processes in your body, it can't work adequately if the quantum bioenergetics is out of balance.
That's so good.
It just makes
That's
sense
so
though
good.
because oh, the dog is like really pruning me. But it makes sense. I know you probably want to get into the topic, but this just like I just want to share this real quick. So,
Yeah.
um,
Go for it.
it says right here. Where is it at? It says, what the heck, man? Um, oh, right here. It says in early stages of imbalance, so this is talking about the alkalinity and like the pH. Um, in the early stages of imbalance, the symptoms may not be very intense and can include such things as skin eruptions, headaches, allergies, cold and flu, and sinus problems. As things get further out of whack, more serious situations arise. Weakened organs and systems start to give way, resulting in dysfunctional thyroid glands, adrenals, liver, and so on. If tissue pH deviates too far to the acidic side, um, then oxygen levels decrease and cellular metabolism will stop. Which, in this part, I'm like, I see where they're coming from, but it's not exactly precisely true. It says, in other words, cells die and you die. I think it should say, in other words, cells die, and if enough cells die, then you die because
Yeah, there's a
your body
caveat
will.
there. But the concept is you're either um living or dying, or like
Yeah,
you're creating or destroying. And if you're
right.
in a state of destruction, it'll ripple out. It's not only your cells that are dying, but like relationships dying, things like that. Like I think it's a very
Yeah.
inside outside perspective. And if you are present enough or not too far deep into the acidifying process, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
catch that destruction before it takes over your entire life. But with
Yeah.
something so deep, you may not be dead physically, but your life around you is dying because of the mental state or the physical or the spiritual state
Yeah.
you're in. It may be so much like death that it's like literally equivalent, you know?
Yeah. But
Life as you know it dies.
it also makes sense that your cells would die because without, and like that you would eventually die because if without oxygen, your cells can't make ATP through cellular respiration. And
Yeah.
if you can't undergo cellular respiration, and so then there's that. And then also in an acidic environment, what we learned in school is like, so your hemoglobin, it won't like release the oxygen if like, because of a concept called pKa, and basically that is based off of pH. And so it's like if the environment is too acidic, then it's like it won't want to receive or like another hydrogen because it's like we have enough hydrogens. And so
Yeah.
like the balance of the hemoglobin releasing the oxygen, like it won't undergo a conformational change in order to release that. And so
Yeah. I'm totally with you. I totally followed everything you said.
I love it.
And then I want to talk to you about another system about like pH balancing, but that could be like a separate conversation about pH balancing and acidity in the body. Because we have a lot of, I guess, clinically based examples with our clients. I run a coaching business with my mom, but before that, we had a wellness center in Washington State. And it was all based on reducing the acidic level in your body to create an environment for healing to be able to happen, because that needs to be present for healing to happen,
Wow.
just like you explained. And we have, I mean, that was not, the wellness center had like zero doctors, zero medical professionals in it. It was purely ran by integrative, natural, whole medicine, like literally like what old wives' tales type of deal.
I didn't
Yeah.
know you did that. That's pretty cool.
It was a really cool. It was like 2 years before we moved. We were doing that.
Wow.
Yeah, and they just recently actually closed it, which is really sad. But
Wow.
it was not a profitable model anymore. It was a model of like get the solutions in your home so you don't need a doctor, so you don't need a wellness center or whatever. Get the solutions and become the solution yourself, like treat yourself.
Mm,
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
wow.
eventually gets rid of the clientele. So not that the
And
Wow.
reasons, yeah. I think there's always going to be people who are sick, but eventually those people became tool and wellness centers of their own. Like we were able to move to Texas and do the exact same thing we were doing in that wellness center, which was a brick and mortar shop outside of our house. We're able to do the exact same thing here within our home and build community and family simultaneously in a city where we don't know anybody. So it's really interesting to think about. I think every family can become their own healing mechanism.
Mm,
Uh,
yeah. Wow. And
wow.
say it again.
it only takes one person who
Yes. Yeah.
actually educates themselves and is personable and can translate that knowledge through um, just character as well.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
the the way that you approach people with the information is just as
Mm.
information itself, because like you
Yeah.
can
Wow.
write about something, but if
Yes.
your presentation is wrong, then all of your information is void of transferability.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yep.
That's really good. That's
It's
a really good
exactly
point.
what you just explained of like if a cell or that system is too acidic, it won't be able to absorb the healing substance that it needs to actually become whole. So like if you are in a state of like being in a defensive state, you are not capable of absorbing even the best type of information. You're literally blocked off because your body is acidic to absorption of health or
Yeah.
wholeness from another person.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. What the heck?
They're
Okay.
what 17 minutes of our call.
Okay. Yeah. I know.
I
I'm
love
so
it.
sorry. I hope I
It's
didn't like
okay.
take or whatever, but I just get so excited. And
Come
then when
on, Shelby.
people are like speaking your language, you're like, no way, this is freaking real. Or even frequencies, you're like, who would have thought
Yeah.
quantum bioenergetics? Like,
Yeah.
how is
Yeah.
what? How
Yeah.
did God make that?
Literally. I know. It blows my mind, but that's what he created us for our minds to be blown and for us to continue to have an experience of living through the breath of life he gave us because he wanted us to have this experience, to
Yeah.
have this experience through us, you know.
Yes.
So,
And yeah.
yeah, go for it.
And God's probably like super excited whenever our minds are blown because he's rabbi. And so
You're
like
getting
when
it.
yeah, when students like are understanding a concept, he's like, mm-hmm,
Yep,
yep.
there it is. They got it.
Right. That's so good.
I just have one question for you guys. What is the essential oil you guys have been using today, or how many? Which ones did you guys use today?
Wow. I'll tell you last night, I've kind of been honestly, today's been kind of abnormal because I've been go, go, go. I got up early and then went straight to working today, which is not super normal. I had to film, but I definitely used Breathe and Lavender last night
Mm.
on the bottoms of my feet. I might have used oils today. Actually, no, I definitely did. I used frankincense on my face.
Mm.
Nice.
Yep.
I'm gonna put Intune on right now though.
Yeah, get it. Get it. Shelby, did you use any today?
I have a diffuser. Okay, confession. You know what?
Mhm.
No shame, because this is just not where I'm at. I can't. Okay, I've been thinking a lot about doTERRA, but it's just so expensive, and so I'm trying to save up my money because I just cannot afford that because I kind of have a job, but it's not a lot of hours, and I might get this. There's might be a job opportunity that will come through. I sent them my resume and stuff, but I'm like, I don't really have. So I've just been using a crappy essential oil, which I'm like,
Aw.
but it's fine. It's fine. I will
You should
Um,
send me your address and I'll send you one.
actually.
Yeah, what do you want?
Also, I didn't say that, so you'd send me stuff.
no, I literally
Well, I
thought I'm
mean,
like, let's hook her
of
up with
course.
some. When
Okay.
you're in doTERRA for a certain amount of time, your oils
What?
come for free.
What'd you say?
I said, when you're in doTERRA for a certain amount of time, it's like a gift that keeps giving.
Oh,
Your
nice.
small investment keeps coming back to you, and you're able to give to others, but while they're in a transition.
Yeah, text me your address, Shelby, and we'll figure something out.
Perfect.
But text me something, give me an idea of what you're looking for so I don't want to just send you something random. I want to send you something that you're going to use.
I love
Yeah.
I'm sure you use it anyways, but let me know what specifically.
Okay. Perfect.
I
I know.
love.
I still use the Serenity and
Uh-huh.
the Adapter that my
Mm,
had sent, but
yeah, come on.
I
That's
kind of like
awesome.
use it very sparingly. I'm like, I do not, my aura score is not great.
Oh,
Your aura score?
Again,
Yo, that's crazy.
that is so funny. This morning I used On Guard in my toothpaste, obviously.
mm,
Oh, me too. Yeah, me too.
Built in, and get that morning dose. Go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Sorry. No, I was gonna say me too, and I also used my doTERRA like frankincense deodorant or whatever it's called.
Yeah, yeah. See, both forms, literally, like all pathways are being informed by doTERRA essential oils.
Informed, indeed.
Yes, and then I used clove right now while I was writing the notes for today because I was like, man, there's just so much information here. I need to get something on my body, and all I had was clove. So like I put some on my finger and like rubbed it across my teeth and my gums, and yeah,
Mm.
it felt great. But now I have some oils with me, and I just want to encourage you guys to grab a drop and use it while we're listening and learning today.
I got some Gasha wood. This is for meditation and focus and
Oh,
study.
nice. I
On.
love
Let's
that
go.
one.
It's already on the wrist. It's already on the temples. Come on.
I'm using Northern Escape. Um,
Yo, that's Keegan's favorite. I haven't got Northern Escape yet. It's his
no
favorite
way.
though. He
It's my
says,
dad's favorite. My dad loves this
"Yo,
one.
these guys out really out here making it happen."
Yeah, whenever it's on sale or there's like a buy one get one, he goes all in on Northern Escape or any of like the woodsy oils, but Northern Escape is his favorite. He used to do the little bubble when he did tile work.
Yeah.
He has a van, and so every day he would use his van. He would put the Northern Escape in the bubble, and drive with that in his car. So it's literally starting and ending his day every day. So okay, my whole family's into oils, so it's really fun. My brother was like upset when
Oils.
we ran out of toothpaste. He was like, "Guys, I don't do any other toothpaste except for doTERRA toothpaste. Like, we need this back in the house." So when one person gets into it, like you said, Shelby, everyone else will follow. Your energy will trickle outwards. I want to talk about today um, the loss of sovereignty in the human body and how we can use essential oils. And I'm only going to talk about three essential oils to bring the body into alignment and back into sovereignty as an assistant. As an assistant to the sovereignty within the human body. Okay,
Yeah.
so when we talk about restoring sovereignty in the immune system, we're implying that at some point the sovereignty was compromised. In this context, oh, Shelby, you have two participants? You have another one? Okay, sorry. That sovereignty was compromised. In this context, sovereignty refers to the body's innate ability to self regulate, defend, and repair. So without needing to rely on constant external control or suppression. Does that make sense to you guys? What the role of the immune system is and what the role of sovereignty over the immune system is. Okay. So the loss of sovereignty. Modern life introduces factors that override or distort the natural intelligence of the immune system and other organ systems. Chronic pharmaceutical use, especially antibiotics, steroids, and immunosuppressants. So you can check back with yourself in times that you had those substances introduced into your routine, into your life, what dysregulations may have followed. Because in this modern day, modern life, antibiotics, steroids, and immunosuppressants are kind of the first thing people reach for. So that's chronic pharmaceutical use, persistent exposure to endocrine disruptors and synthetic chemicals, over reliance on symptom suppression instead of root cause resolution, unintegrated trauma, which creates dysregulation via the nervous and hormonal system. So, unintegrated trauma, whether that be emotional or physical or spiritual, will rest in your tissues, will rest in your body. And that expresses itself through your nervous system and your hormone systems. Disconnected circadian rhythms and lack of communion with nature removes you from sovereignty of your human body, of your immune system. And that's what we're going to tap into in the retreat, which I'm so excited. This whole conversation today made me so excited about our retreat because we're going to be nailing down a deep sovereignty within the human body in our time in Idaho, in Fairfield. So, energetic influences like media, institutions, or belief systems that condition us to doubt the body. These influences displace the body's natural authority. The immune systems the immune system begins to respond to confusion, which is autoimmunity, exhaustion, which is immunodeficiency, or overactivation, which is chronic inflammation. So, it just to recap, these influences that I just listed off displace the body's natural authority. And that's what we always want to be present in, sovereignty. And I thought that word was so accurate to this because that's how the creator made us to be over our body. And in times of dysregulation for myself, I knew the reason I was able to heal was the identification of actually it was belief systems that conditioned me to doubt my body's ability to heal until I worked on those belief systems and began to believe that my body could heal. I was believing that autoimmunity is a lifetime issue that you deal with forever and you don't get to get out of that. So, what does it mean to restore sovereignty? To restore sovereignty is to restore the immune system, is to return the immune system and the body at large to its rightful throne. Self organizing, it can distinguish friend from foe, pathogen from food, self from others. So, this is your body's innate ability to identify threat or something that is other than itself, to exist on its own with authority. With resilience, it responds appropriately, not reactively. Uninfluenced by coercion, it is not dictated by fear, chemicals, or artificial influence and inputs. So that's kind of like when people don't understand that they're living in an artificial environment until you take them out, cleanse them, get them so living clean that when they come back into an artificial environment, all of a sudden the air freshener in the wall is making them have an allergic reaction. They wouldn't have had that until their system was cleansed or they understood that what the authority is in their body for clean information to be flowing through. You start to understand and react accordingly. And it's coherent. This is what it means to be sovereign. It communicates clearly with the nervous system, endocrine system, and digestive system. That communication pathway is so important. This is what I was talking about in the beginning with the binders. When you don't have something to flush the toxins out, that's where the toxins stay. Nervous system, endocrine system, and digestive systems. In this lens, essential oils, alongside breath work, fasting, sunlight, and grounding practices, are not just tools of chemistry, but invitations back into autonomy, which is the whole point. For us to be functioning without need of other support, for us to be able to function with nature, with humans, without always needing medication or whatever other things. So, sovereignty across all systems means the liver can filter toxins without being overwhelmed or sluggish. It means the skin can defend while remaining porous and communicative with the environment, not closed off or way too open, absorbing everything around you. It's accurate to what it needs to be. And the womb for women cycles and regenerates in sync with the earth and self, not through suppression of symptoms at different phases of your cycle, but sovereignty across all systems in the brain thinks, feels, and perceives without hijacks or fogs, which is so important in this modern day society. Being influenced by media is so prevalent, even in my own family. Like I recognize it constantly. I recognize it in myself. And I think the recent practice of spending time in silence is going to help me improve my ability to not be influenced by the hijack of social media, to think, feel, and perceive reality accurately. When no system is ruled by external forces, the body becomes sovereign. It becomes a kingdom of clarity, trust, and regenerative intelligence. That is the first part of what I'm going to share. And now I'm going to share how to understand frequency of essential oils and the function of them on our bodies. So essential oils like rose, frankincense, and vetiver. These are the three that I chose to talk about today because they're my favorite go-tos. A rose, like Shelby shared in the group chat, is the highest frequency recorded in an essential oil, functioning at megahertz. So I actually looked up the definition of megahertz stands for um, a unit of frequency equal to 1 million cycles per second. In the, yeah, so that's crazy. That's insane number. 1 million cycles per second. That is one measure of 1 megahertz. Crazy.
Can you explain that? The cycles?
The cycle is commonly used. I just have the definition. So hertz, base unit of frequency, so that's HC, representing 1 cycle per second. So
Like
cycle,
electron or what?
no, I have literally no idea. Resonance,
Yeah.
frequency. We'd have to dig into on the actual concept of how frequency is measured and what is the way that it operates. Do you have that, Michael?
Let me look up the definition to see what it'll say.
So that's hertz. Yeah, if you can look up frequency or cycles per second. Mega, a prefix meaning 1 million megahertz. Therefore, 1 megahertz is equal to 1 million hertz or 1 million cycles per second. In that's not relevant. No. Clock speed, RAM modules. Yeah.
Frequency.
Encyclopedia moment.
It's been so helpful to have this around. It's actually crazy. It's so different than just looking up a word online.
Oh yeah.
Because you learn so much from the other words that you wouldn't normally look up. I'm right here. Hold on. A, B, C, D. Oh, here we go. The fact or condition of occurring frequently, a rate of occurrence, the number of cycles per second of an alternating current, the number of waves as of sound or electromagnetic energy that pass a fixed point each second.
So bouncing back, that's like a magnet, how it revolves. Waves, sound, all move, and coming past a certain point, wherever it is going, it comes back to that one point and is measured equally by how many times it hits that point. That is 1 cycle per second or whatever.
Wow.
One cycle is one. What was that?
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Base unit of frequency representing 1 cycle per second.
So how many cycles does it have then?
Megahertz is 1 million cycles per second.
Oh my gosh.
And then rose essential oil is 320 megahertz.
So 320 million
cycles per second.
Yeah.
320 million?
Yeah.
So what in the world?
Yeah.
So what is that actually doing to us?
This is why you need to use essential oils diluted. You can't just straight douse. I mean, you can, but it has to be very strategic and intentional.
Moly.
That's why most uses of like doTERRA products, most of their products are diluted besides the essential oils. And that's why essential oils, you should not be using them without education on how to use them.
Wow.
There's so many books about them, which is why the essential oil model.
What the heck?
I know, we just all got our minds blown again.
That's crazy.
I love that.
Because I was like, hertz, what the heck is a hertz? Like,
it's the same thing with sound waves. It's the same with sound waves with music.
Yeah.
Hertz.
And it's also crazy is you know the saying of like nobody can worship God the way that you can worship God. And so it's like there's that one song. It's like no one else can love you like I love you, Lord. I was made unique in you. I was made to give you praise. Well, all of our DNA, the way that our DNA is transcribed, because our DNA is unique, the frequency that's given off during transcription for all of us individually are different. So we're all praising God at all times with our body through God made our DNA to be able to like continue to replicate. So it's like when our DNA is replicating, we're literally giving off our own frequency and noise to God and worship. So even at rest, we're still worshiping God.
Come
Yeah.
on.
But it's like it's because like when our DNA undergoes transcription, it creates a noise and a vibration and a frequency. That's okay, that makes sense. And
Yes.
so
Yes. Well, and this is why, like, without understanding it, we can feel someone walk into a room before we see them
yeah.
because our body can hear them. Yeah. I've had this experience so many times, and this is the point of purity, attunement, alignment, um, getting your mind in order, getting your thoughts in order, clearing confusion out of your field. When people say out of your field or out of your aura, it means all of the noise that is around you that
Yeah.
could be affected by damaging frequencies,
Wow.
which is what I want to talk about. Okay, let me dive into this and we can chit chat after because this is a great topic. I'm just going to start from the beginning of that thought of essential oils like rose, frankincense, and vetiver have distinct frequencies, subtle energetic vibrations measurable in hertz. We now understand what a hertz is. Amazing question, Shelby. That can influence the body's systems, especially when trying to restore optimal function and balance. Here is how their frequency and chemical compounds can impact the bacterial, viral, and fungal environment, and in turn, human physiology. So, bacterial, fungal, and viral environment is negative frequency. It is causing destructive patterns in your body. Every substance, including cells, pathogens, and oils, vibrates at a frequency. Healthy human cells generally resonate at 62 to 70 megahertz. Okay, that's human cell biology. Human cells, healthy, generally resonate 60 to 70 megahertz. So that's 60 to 70 million cycles per second per cell. That's a human body.
Wait, say that one more time.
62 to 70 million cycles per second. That's a healthy human. Hertz
So a
resonance.
62 to 70 megahertz is what it's called?
Yes. Yeah. MHC is the abbreviation. When the body is fighting illness or chronic dysfunction, its frequency tends to drop. For cold symptoms, at being at 58 megahertz and cancer around 42 megahertz. That's not far off from healthy resonance, which is crazy. It's not that far off. When we look at the resonance, the frequency of different essential oils, how much they vary, the human body does not vary that much in number of frequency cycles or hertz cycles from healthy to having cancer. Like it's not a huge range. High frequency essential oils can raise the body's energetic baseline, which is the important thing when you're, say, have cold symptoms. Raising the energetic baseline ensures that your body can come back to baseline or re-regulate itself. Disrupts low frequency organisms like viruses and fungi. Supports regeneration and nervous system regulation, which is the baseline of your body and your ability to come back to the 62 to 70 megahertz. So rose essential oil, 320 megahertz. Highest vibrational frequency recorded in essential oils. Its actions on the body are potent antiviral and antibacterial properties, especially against staph and candida. Regulates emotional and endocrine systems through the limbic brain. Raises heart coherence and oxytocin production, supporting parasympathetic restoration. Supports healing from grief, trauma, and emotional stagnation, which we talked about this earlier in the sovereignty of the body. Emotional or trauma is stored in the hormonal and endocrine systems. Rose specifically supports healing from grief, trauma, and emotional stagnation. It helps purge that out of the body and raise the frequency through being the highest frequency, um, highest vibrational frequency of an essential oil. So
Wow.
yeah, it creates a biochemical and energetic environment in which pathogens struggle to survive and cells can thrive because they're aligning to a higher frequency. The cells of our body recognize the frequency of natural elements. They recognize the frequency of rose and align to it and allow the essence of rose, that chemical process befriends a cell that is struggling and transforms it to a higher frequency instead of being taken down by a low vibration thing like grief and trauma, emotional stagnation, or viruses and bacteria. Moving on to frankincense, 147 megahertz, known as a spiritual and cellular regenerator. So, again, the
Wow.
word generator is telling you that your cells are moving at a certain pace.
Wow.
Frankincense is a cellular regenerator. It kickstarts the engine again. It's anti-inflammatory, antifungal, and neuroprotective. It enhances mitochondrial function and oxygen uptake. It supports immune modulation and lymphatic flow. It helps resolve emotional residues
Listen.
stored in tissue. What was that, Michael?
What's the megahertz again for that?
147.
Well,
Yeah. Look at the difference of the megahertz between rose and frankincense and still how powerful it is on the human body.
Wow. Quick question about rose. Do you
Uh-huh.
think that that's why we send roses are typically the flowers we send for
Yeah.
funerals?
When we love someone,
Or yeah, or like for funerals because rose is really powerful for grief
it
and
is. Yeah. I
it
mean,
just
I wouldn't deny that. Like it raises heart coherence and oxytocin production, supporting parasympathetic restoration. So not only that, like it heals grief and trauma and pain, but I would also say like when someone's having a wedding or a celebration of love or when you're dating someone, you get roses, you know? It raises your heart coherence and oxytocin production, which naturally makes you fall in love with the person more, you know? That's actually
well,
great. Um, Parallel. My boyfriend has always gotten me roses. He doesn't deviate.
go Eli.
I love it. Yeah.
Legend.
So frankincense, yeah, frankincense, known as a spiritual and cellular regenerator, anti-inflammatory, antifungal, neuroprotective, protects your brain, protects your neurological processes. It enhances
Mine.
mitochondrial function and oxygen uptake, supports immune modulation and lymphatic flow. So it's great when used in massages. So lymphatic flow, lymphatic tissues all over your body. And when that lymphatic flow doesn't happen unless you're exercising, and there's a certain kind of lymphatic flow that doesn't happen unless you are massaging your body. It also happens when you're in something like a pool, like swimming naturally massages your lymphatic system. So when you can combine that with frankincense, it's like a double power. And it helps resolve emotional residue stored in tissue. The fact that that can be measured is actually crazy.
yeah.
Actually,
Wow.
it encourages the immune system to detoxify and rebuild. It supports both energetic clearing and cellular reprogramming. So if you are reprogramming those limiting beliefs that cause you to doubt the body's ability to heal, frankincense or anything along those lines, there's so many systems. I came from a system that didn't believe that the body could work on its own, that the body couldn't heal itself. And it took reprogramming that. Introducing essential oils into our family was a pivotal point of my healing. I wouldn't doubt that that was one of the reasons introducing frankincense into my life. Lastly, I'm going to talk about vetiver. It's 100 megahertz, deeply grounding, stabilizing, and restorative to the nervous system. It balances neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, and GABA, which is so cool. I'm going to use that.
Oh, I've heard of that. GABA. Whenever I was
Yeah.
studying for the MCAT, I read about that.
GABA is very cool. Okay. GABA production increases when you consume high mineral salt and you expose your face, which has receptors for sunlight, to sunlight in the morning. You have an increased production of GABA. So read about what GABA is and what it does for your body, and you're going to be drinking salt water in the morning, every morning, facing the sunlight. Even on a cloudy day, you can be outside and you will get those benefits.
Yeah.
But vetiver also helps, which is why I'm thinking I can combine that with my morning routine. I also have a roller of vetiver and anytime in my purse. So anytime I'm driving with my boyfriend, I will take that roller. I'll like be playing in my bag or in my purse or whatever, and I'll pull out the bottle of vetiver and I'll always roll it on his temples while he's driving and like rub it in right there. So temples, literally your temples are very high frequency points of your body. That's the reason
Mm.
they have that name. And when we put vetiver on there, it's deeply grounding, stabilizing, and restorative to your nervous system. And I know that vetiver is one of the highest compound essential oils, more chemical compounds than frankincense, actually. Even though it is a lower hertz, um, it has more chemical compound interactions with the body. So I just love vetiver for everything. It's antimicrobial, especially against skin and gut pathogens.
Mm.
It anchors the vagus nerve and soothes sympathetic dominance. So that's stress dominance. Helps calm you down.
Wow.
That's major for me in my line of work with helping people overcome issues of like emotional craziness when
Wow.
they're coming into a state of wholeness and desiring that wholeness. Sometimes people will get into a panic mode. I'm always introducing essential oils. Like, give me your hand, let me just massage it, you know? It repairs emotional exhaustion and mental overactivity. So the loops that come with exhaustion. And it helps the body reintegrate safety and stillness, reducing cortisol and allowing immune and digestive repair to take place. So, to finish up this talk about frequency and the human body and how we can bring our bodies from illness to wholeness through our assistance of essential oils. Essential oils are more than plant chemistry, they are bioenergetic allies. When used intentionally, they shift the body away from disease frequency or dis-ease frequency.
They brought that up, dis-ease, in this book I'm reading about pH.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
It's the beauty. You would love this book. It's called, I will send a picture of it in the chat.
Okay.
It's called The Health Bible Book.
Mm.
He
Come
breaks
on.
down every single word words that are valuable. He breaks them down, or that's used commonly in our modern culture.
Yeah, send it. I want to check it out too.
Yeah, it's amazing. And he talks a lot about how we can cleanse the body using natural products that are literally recipes told to us in the Bible. And he writes exactly the verse that it's written and the amount of times that like frankincense is mentioned in the Bible or myrrh is mentioned in the Bible and where it's written. Powerful. Okay.
So good.
Disease frequency. It shifts the body away from disease frequency, the introduction of essential oils. Encourages cellular repair and immune sovereignty, which we talked about, the founding principle of today. Brings you back into authority of your body. And it restores coherence across physical, emotional, and energetic layers. So all layers of your body are able to communicate physical, emotional, and energetic. And that's really freaking important. They are most effective when paired with intentional practices of breath work, lymphatic drainage, and vagus nerve activation. There's exercises you can do for vagus nerve activation. You could just activate it by breathing and essential oil introduction, making them powerful tools in functional and integrative wellness, building your wellness toolbox from home.
Wow.
Yeah. So beautiful, you guys.
And
Thank
also
you
just
for
think
Beautiful.
about like the generational impact that you can have just within your own
Yes.
family.
Yes.
Come on.
Just like what you just said, that your DNA is repeating, right? And it's replicating all the time. Those threads are influenced by our thoughts, by our experiences, what we're feeding our body, and what frequency we're coding it with. It
Yeah.
creates a different sound. When you listen to whole tones music, I actually just pulled out this like CD case that my parents bought. Um, and I'm gonna send that to the chat too. It's this guy who just created tons of soundtracks um, that are coded to specific hertz. And
Wow.
you play them to have that healing environment in your body. Or everything that you hear is just coding you, right? Those hurts have an influence on how your body is resonating and how you move on from, okay, I was listening to in this room, and then I go meet a person with who is in high level of conflict, and all of a sudden I'm not affected by them because the frequency of my body is coded to be different because of what I was just around. Um, yeah, that's
That's so cool.
yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you, Gemma. That
Thank
was really
you.
good.
Yeah.
I learned
Appreciate you
so
guys
much.
adding to it and making it a dynamic conversation. That was so amazing.
Frequency is something that's blows my mind because I learn more and more about our word choices, what we say, what we think, and then what we wear, the music we listen to. It's just like, I didn't even know essential oils carried frequency until you told me that.
I didn't remember until Shelby texted out in the chat, and I'm like, I don't even remember where I heard it from first, but
Well, it's
I,
just crazy that it's not just like a joke to be cautious of the people you're around and the things you do and the
Yeah.
words you say. It's like it's a very serious thing. Like it's very serious
Yeah.
to be careful about the environment you're in and
it's
what
serious
you're
when you take
reading.
yourself and your future serious, who you are,
Yeah,
take yourself seriously.
yeah. I mean, it makes me just wanna. I'm probably gonna go throw away some clothes. I've been slowly getting rid of my polyester. Like I'm down to like
I have this whole
barely
file
any.
right here is all synthetic clothes.
Let's
And I'm
go
like,
get them
I
out.
could do like an Instagram haul of like have people buy them. I'm like, but I don't want anybody else having this. I don't want to just like give this clothes to someone else to
Yeah,
have to deal with these problems. So
Yeah, but they're
that's
gonna like
valid.
buy them anyway, so
I know,
They're gonna
but
go buy them anyways. Really. You're gonna be part of the problem.
yeah,
You're gonna be part of the problem. No.
my money, I'm
Just
gonna
kidding.
have dirty money.
All right. Literally. I gotta get
well,
out of here,
Yes.
ladies.
Thank you so much
Thanks for
for being
talking, Gemma. That was good. I learned so much. Next week we're gonna talk about some crazy stuff too. Shelby, so good to see you
yes, you
and
in
hear from
too.
you.
frequencies.
So fun.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Shelby, so
All
much.
right.
Contributor.
Yeah.
Healing
But
frequencies
You'll
for
have
how long? And next week is going to be amazing.
nice. I'm excited. I'm gonna be in Florida again, so hopefully I can hop
well,
on. I'll probably be able to. But
cool. Hey, send
yeah,
that book, Gemma, too, when you get a chance, please.
maybe
Yes, yes, yes,
so
yes. All right,
cool.
guys.
All
Cool.
right, bye all.
Everyone.
Bye. Take care. Y'all have a great night.
Thanks.
Bye.